You got to have hard conversations with yourself. You have to be able to look in the mirror and like what you see. And if you don't like what you see in the mirror, you have to be brave enough to figure out why.
Angel Fant is an entrepreneur, leader, advocate, wife, and mother. With a background in finance, she established her career in development. She uses her mistakes as learning lessons to grow. She calls herself a forever student who allows her experiences to inform her successes in business and in life. She built a brand that allows her to create opportunities to pour into women. Angel's goal is to provide a legacy for her family. Her mission is to build you up on the inside and outside, helping you to know your beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. Hello, everybody. I am so excited today about the guest that I have on. Finally BE is somebody who is so unique. When you see her, let me tell you this. This is my story about this woman. I saw her one day and she was like across the room. And every time I see her, it's something about her smile. She is one of those people that people come up and be like, you know, and how people come up to you and say something like, "Oh, girl, I love your energy." She is not one of those people. She's one of those people that you go up to and you want to hug immediately. And you don't even know why. You just go up there and you be like, "Can I just sit by you? I just want to be near you. I don't know who you are, but please be in my world today." you know. And so this woman is such an extraordinary person. And the reason why she's on the podcast today, because I have not had a lot of conversations with her, but the conversations I have had has opened my heart up to something different. And that's why
Oh,
she is here. I want you guys to get to know her just as much as I know her, and even more so. Um, please, please, please welcome Miss Angel. Hi.
hi. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm fast asleep. Thank you.
Girl, I'll be thinking about you.
It's so crazy because the way we view ourselves is not always how other people view us.
Mhm.
So I always get taken back when I get that type of feedback. I do. I just, yeah.
I love it. I love that you get taken back because I'm surprised everybody ain't just coming up to you, hugging you all the time. Like, girl, hold on, I don't know you.
I've had that experience though. I have. And I'll be like, yeah. And now because my hair is blue,
Mhm.
like I'll walk into a room, right? And I'll forget that my hair is blue. And people will be looking, and I'll be like, what are they looking at? And I'll look up, I'm like, oh, my hair.
It ain't because your hair is blue. A whole lot of people hair is blue. It's because it's you. It's because it's you. Stop playing. Don't be blaming on your hair.
But yeah, no, that's very sweet. Thank you. I appreciate
No problem. Well, I just want to get into this. I want to know a little bit about you, how you got to being who you are today. Like, what is your origin story?
that is such a packed question. That is such a packed question. So I am an only child. Well, I'll say I grew up as an only child. And it was a lot of figuring myself out because it was just me. And yeah, it was just a lot of work because I had a lot of traumas in my life. So because of that, it takes you down a path of um not such positive feelings about yourself. So, but I made a conscious decision to be like, yeah, I'm not going to be that bitter person that um always concentrates on what happens in their like I made a conscious decision and I will never forget the day I made it. I said I do not want to be bitter. I don't want to be bitter. And after that, I just took steps to become a better person and to see better. Well, I'll say to see the cup half full than half empty. Put it that way. Because I was a very much a half empty person. And I just made a conscious decision to change my mindset. And that's still, listen, I still have days where I have to remind myself, look, get yourself together, get your stuff together. I still have those reminders, but I'm from Gary, Indiana. And to me, Gary was a survival mode town. And I spent half my time in Texas and half my time in Gary. When I moved back to Gary when I was about 9, I was that happy-go-lucky Texas girl, right? But I'm also only child. So when I moved back to Gary with all the rest of my family, they're looking at me like, what is wrong with this? Like, who are you? And I'm like, what? This is who I am, right? And they're like, no, we don't operate like that here. And so I was very much the black sheep. At least I felt that way. And so as you get older, and my mom was a single mom, and as you get older, you just start housing resentment just based on your environment. And so, and of course, like a lot of us, childhood traumas happen, and we just go through things and learn self. And through that, we have to make a decision. Either you're going to go this way or that way. And I decided to not be that person.
I love that because when you really think about this, like for me, I had a lot of self-suffering, right?
Yeah.
You can hold on to these things as much as you want to. You can say that they're good or bad, but really is really consciously thinking about, am I going to continue allowing myself to suffer in something that's from my past? I'm making
Right.
that decision every day. So I can make a different decision. I can see
Uh,
things differently if I want to. And that's something that I know that we work on every single day to consciously make that decision to say, this is the direction I want to go in, you know,
Right.
and our
Right.
choices are informing that and helping us to see. And I'm like, it's layers to this thing, you know?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
So with
Yes.
every layer is revealing something else that you have to be aware of and to keep yourself noticing that your environment is not going to inform you the way that you want it to. You have to make a choice. And then after you make a choice, because it's a lot of choices you can make, you have to
Yeah.
make a decision. That means taking an action towards that choice,
Right.
in order for it to do something. And I think that's something a lot of us forget because of
Yeah.
life and what we was talking about earlier.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So
Yep.
with all of that and that knowing that you decided, you made a
Mhm.
decision, a choice from all the options that you could have did. You could have stayed where you
Mm.
was in your thinking and how you felt and in your environment. What made you think or believe that you had something to give from all of that?
I did it for a long time. I did it. I didn't really understand why I went through the things that I went through for a long time. Because I didn't want to embrace it. I didn't want to embrace what I went through. And then, I had to figure out what my triggers were because I would get triggered and I would be like, why do I feel this way? What is going on? And because I didn't know what my triggers were, I would get triggered often. And so, when you're constantly in a state of depression, because I do believe it was depression,
Mhm.
um, you don't think you have anything to give to others, but you can't see it. So I would say it wasn't until I probably hit 30 in my 30s,
Okay.
and I'm 42 now.
Mhm.
So when I hit my 30s, my mind started to think different and I started to really hone into what my purpose was. Like, what is my purpose? Like, why am I really here? What am I doing? Right? Because I didn't become an entrepreneur till I was in my 30s.
Mhm.
Like I was corporate America, 9 to 5,
Do what you're supposed to do.
do what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I pushed the envelope a little bit because that's just who I am. And so I when I figured out that I have a purpose in my life and that I have an anointing and it's things that I'm supposed to be doing and giving to other people. That's when I started to see, okay, I can tell my story or my experiences and help other people through my experience, whether it be personal, business, relationship. And that's when I started sharing a lot on social media.
Mm.
I was very much against social media. Well, first of all, I come up when there was no social media.
Mhm.
I come up when there was no internet. You know what I'm saying? So that
I know.
we didn't even have cell phones. We had pagers.
Mhm.
That was my era. So when I start, and I'm a very private person. At least I viewed myself as that. So when I started understanding who I was and that my experiences could possibly help, even if it's just one person, that's when I started sharing on social media and felt comfortable with sharing. So felt comfortable telling my story, a little bit of it anyway. And then it just started to grow into something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is so what I keep thinking about, how did you trust yourself to do that? Like, seriously, how did you get to that place where, like, I've dealt with depression my own self, and for me, I went through that place of, for a very long time, nothing is ever going to work out the way I want it to. And you get to this place of wanting to do these things, you have these visions for your life, and you just don't do them.
Yeah.
You're complacent, and
Yeah.
you're comfortable with the discomfort because this is what's normal and familiar to you. So how
Mm.
did you trust yourself? I know that you were already somebody who was enthusiastic about their life, like, "I'm gonna push the envelope a little bit," but what made you say, "This is not just possible, but this is possible for me?"
That's when my faith started kicking in. That's when I started really like getting closer to God in my life.
Mhm.
Because now keep in mind, my mother was a very free spirit, right?
Okay.
So for a while, it was just me and her. And she was never one of those parents. I hear this all the time. She was never one of those parents that would make you go to church. Like we going to church and we gonna be in there from Sunday school to like she was never that person. Never. So I was able to make choices for how I wanted to um view God.
Mm.
Like I got baptized when I was like 12 because she wanted me to understand it. But it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I started building like a real connection that was mine, if that makes sense.
It
Like
does
I
make
started
sense.
like to connect. I started to really tap into my faith. And at that point, I was like, okay, I don't know where this is going. Cause don't get me wrong, I had no answer. I had none. I had none. It was it was strictly on faith alone. Alone. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I could trust, but I knew I had to open myself in some type of way. And that's in relationships that I was building. That's in how I was walking daily. Like it's just in every area of my life. I had to be able to connect in some way. Because when you're depressed, you're also isolated
Mm,
and you're alone. At least you isolate yourself.
right.
And I have found that we are created to have some type of connection. And I think when I met my husband, because we met, I was 23, um, and started dating, I still didn't trust. So we had to build that. And it wasn't until he was like, I am not like these other dudes you've been messing with. And I was like, what do you mean? Because I didn't even realize I would be bringing that baggage
Mhm.
in the relationship. You don't see it. So once it was pointed out to me, then I started doing the work. Okay, I need to work on me. I need to figure out what's going on with me. So when we got married, I was 26. And I learned quickly that just because you're married and you have a partner, they can't make you happy. Like they can't. I mean, that's a nice sentiment, but you have to make yourself happy. And I had to learn that. So after I started like figuring out who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like, how I like to be treated, setting up boundaries, which this stuff I still do to this day. To this day. It helps me trust that okay, I can put my trust in this relationship and not wait till the other shoe falls. Oh, okay, I can build this friendship and trust that this is a real friend. Now, discernment has to be in there somewhere. Like you're not
Mhm.
just, but once I decided to open myself up, then all other type of doors started opening up. Now, that doesn't mean that I immediately came out of dark spaces because I still had my triggers and I hadn't worked on those as far as traumas from my past. But I knew, like I said, I had already made that conscious decision to be the type of person that you can look and say, oh, that smiling face. But it will always shock me when people say that because I remember the place where I came from. Because it, I put on a good poker face, put it that way. Like you see the smile and all that, but you don't know that when I go home, I am
Mhm.
dying inside.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
So
mean.
I had to figure that part out. And that's still like, listen, I'm 42 and I still have triggers that I'm trying to figure out. Like I still have triggers that like my birthday. I was just talking about this to a friend. For some reason, my birthday triggers me. And my birthday's in December. I just had my birthday, December 10th.
Happy
But
birthday.
it triggers me. And
Mhm.
I literally every birthday I go into like just this dark space. And I have to figure that thing out. Like, why? And I didn't even know that that was happening until I started video vlogging myself. And these are just videos to myself. And you know how you get the memory pops on your phone? I
Mhm.
got a memory the day of my birthday, and I saw that I was in the same space last year.
Wow.
And I was like, "Ah, this is a trigger. Something is going on this day." And it happens every year. So I just said that to say it's an ever working thing. Like
Mhm.
it's something that I'm constantly working on because depression is very much a
Mhm.
real thing. Yeah.
When I was really diving into that piece of work, when you're really unveiling those layers of yourself and realizing that this is coming from somewhere. The one thing I
Yeah.
had to start learning for myself is there's a reason it's there. It's a
Yeah.
reason that you're holding on the way that you're holding on. It's a reason that that thing you think is so unhealthy is protecting you from something. It's
Mhm.
there for a reason. It's coming up because there is something in your environment, something inside of you, something that you haven't realized that need you haven't fully realized it's being met already because
Yeah.
like we know we already got everything we need. We're already filled up. It's
Yeah.
recognizing and like you said, coming into that awareness. And one of the principal powers that we have when it comes to I love to talk about energy, just how we move, like energy moves in a certain direction. And one of the principal powers that we have is that awareness of the God that's in us, first of all,
Mhm.
and then having that choice to say that I can choose this. I can choose this for myself. And I can choose to be open. I can choose to be vulnerable. I can choose to start looking into those things. And that's something that I really had to do. I had to start telling myself, do I choose to be open and vulnerable to this? Because I don't know if I
Y
want to
yeah.
go a little deeper into that. And then from there, when I start understanding what that really means to be open to whatever that place inside of me was, I had to say, this is all a part of my experience, and I get to experience this. I choose to
Mhm.
experience this. And then I can say, this is who I choose to be right
Mhm.
now. This is
Mhm.
who I get to be right now,
Mhm.
and that kinda lifted that veil of whatever it was that was covering that hurt or that pain or that suffering that I was allowing over and over in those patterns, it would break it because now I can choose something different.
Yeah.
I can see it differently, and
Yeah.
that's something that's how I think we decide to trust something. You
Yeah.
know, it's not something that gets built up because of these you did that and you did this. It's because I'm choosing to do this right now. I'm choosing to be
Yeah.
vulnerable. I'm choosing this. So it's always it comes back for me that awareness and that choice. And it sounds like every day you do that for yourself. You get more and more aware. And that's something that is I mean, that's brave because nobody wants to see what's really going on or consciously listen to
Listen,
that.
that is so true. That is so, so true. It I think as I got older, because I can say when I hit 40, I stopped caring. I'm not gonna say I stopped caring about how other people feel, because I do care about how other people feel. But I stopped caring about what other people thought about my truth
Mm, there you go.
because it's something that I experienced. It's something that had an impact on me, whether good or bad. Um, so I got more comfortable with talking about it because I never used to talk about it. Like, you would never know that I'd be in my house bawling because when you see me out, you see me smiling.
Mhm.
But as you get older, I think you start to really get comfortable with self. And that also means embracing all that ugly that's in and be comfortable with expressing it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, being through my experiences, seeing like having these conversations with others, it helps both of us, not just them. Me expressing my story may help that other person, but them telling me their experiences and how they've overcome it or trying to overcome it helps me. That
Mhm.
helps me. So, yeah, I think as you get older, you just get more comfortable with not caring how people feel about you.
Well, then how do you get to that place of being honest with yourself? Because
Oh, that's
because you can listen to somebody else and they say something and you still ain't got to believe it. You know, you could read something in the book, it still don't have to resonate, but being honest with yourself and say, "Hold on, that is
yep.
me." How did you get there?
You got to have hard conversations with yourself. You have to be able to look in the mirror and like what you see in the mirror. And if you don't like what you see in the mirror, you have to be brave enough to figure out why. And sometimes you just get sick and tired of being down. You get sick and tired of just feeling a type of way. You get tired of that. At least I did. And at that point, I need to figure out how to get this feeling off of me, how to uplift myself because the main person who's gonna take care of you is you.
Mm.
If you don't know how to take care of you, how are you gonna tell other people to take care of you? Right? If you don't know how to handle yourself, how are you going to teach other people how to handle you, whether it's your partner, your parents, your friends, coworker, whomever? If you don't know how to um have those hard conversations and be honest with yourself to know, yes, that happened to me and be accountable. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that I was wrong. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get to that place. If you're not at that place, then you're gonna be lying to yourself.
Mhm.
You have to be accountable. My word, so every year I choose a word that I want to work on. 2023 was accountability and restoration. Starting to be accountable for what I say. I was really good, and this was just this year. I was really good at saying, I'm gonna go on vacation this year. Yep, I'm gonna take a trip and never do it.
Mm. That's me.
And so I'll be like, I have to start being accountable for what I say and the words that I put out there in the universe. Restoration was because I always put myself on the back burner. It's because of what I do, a lot of it is encouraging other people. But while I'm encouraging those people, I'm literally shrinking.
Mm.
Like I'm taking from me to give, and I don't have anything to replenish myself. So that was my word for 2023 was accountability and restoration. Being accountable for what you say, not saying stuff you don't mean. Obviously, if you're not financially equipped to take a big vacation, don't say you're gonna take a vacation.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? Or
accountability too, boy.
if you bad with money, say you bad with money.
Mhm.
If you want to start like a regiment on um having balance in your life and
Mhm.
doing certain things with your family on a consistent basis, be accountable for that. And so I started that in 2023 and it helps me have hard conversations with myself and say, yeah, you work too much. Yeah, you don't have balance. Yes, your children need you because I still have young kids. And I don't want to give the world my 100% and then get home and I'm too tired to have relationships with my kids and my husband, which I was very bad at. Very bad. I would be working all day, grinding, hustling, getting all that stuff in, and then get home and be passed out. And my family be like, oh, she tired. Guess we're not doing anything with mommy. And it's like, I don't want to be like that.
Mm-mm.
So I had to start saying, okay, Angel, your schedule needs to change.
Mm.
Your when you say you're gonna do something, you need to stand on that and do it. Or you need to be accountable and say, okay, I can't do that. This is why. So just having those hard conversations, and you have to be honest with yourself because if you're not honest, then you're not gonna be able to um embrace who you really are and
Okay.
what you really need to fix.
So for most people, they struggle with those things that are their labels, the roles that they play. And like you were saying, they feel that drain, that because there's something in us that says that we always need something, we always have something to fix, we're always broken. But then that counter inner that's a counter belief to we're full, we're abundant, we're alive, we're whole. And that's something that I try to work with people to see that you're starting from wholeness. You're
Yeah.
starting from being filled up. You're starting from there, and you have to acknowledge that those other things are actually coming from your overflow. But when you see it a different way, when you see it a different direction, when you see it moving somewhere different, it's because you're not aware of who you are.
Yeah.
So, my question to a lot of people, and I want to know this from you because I see your light. I see how you shine. I see how you move in your life. I see your heart for people, but I also see your heart for yourself. You know,
Mm,
for your you have an ear to hear something different than what other people say. You stand up for things. You do things that people don't even dare to do. You say things that motivates people to move from where they are to who they know they can be, you know? And so I really want to know, what does it mean to you to live a life of purpose?
ooh, it means stability for me
Mm,
because when you live a life of purpose and you are walking in your purpose, then you know something good has to come out of that walk,
mm,
period. Like there's no losing. You will always win when you are walking in your purpose, regardless what that looks like. That winning may not look the same for
mm.
you than it does for somebody else.
Right.
And that's the piece that I had to learn. I was real good with subconsciously comparing where I was to where somebody else was. And when I finally embraced the fact that my journey is my journey, my process is my process, and it's going to look different from everybody else, then I started to understand that what I have is not going to look like what somebody else has. What I deem as success is not going to be success to somebody else because it's my success. It's what I am made for. So that helps me in my process because listen, I'm still walking through my process.
Mm,
Right. It's still unanswered questions that I have. It's still traumas that I have not addressed. It's still characteristics about myself that I feel I need to change. Like my work is so far from done. It's not done. But at the same time, I know now, and this is from 2023.
mhm.
This is from 2023. I know now that I am walking in a space that was built for me.
This is what
And
you were
as
meant
long as
for.
I stay in that space,
Mhm.
like something good has to come out of my walk. Something good has to come out of my process. Whatever challenge, mountain, and just like right now, we talked about it earlier. Life was life and things was happening to this day. Things is happening. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm trying my best to live uh, uh, a life that is pleasing to my God, then I know that I am going to reap what I have sown. Those seeds that I have sown, whether they've been in people, my children, um, I have been sowing seeds in fertile ground, and I know one day I'm going to see the waters from that. I'm going to see the harvest from that, from those seeds. It may take a while. And that's the thing is the wait. What's is probably the hardest thing ever, the wait. And that's a I don't yeah, the wait. But as long as I am doing what I need to do and I am seeing fruits from what I have sown in, I know that I'm doing right.
Mhm.
Right? And that's why I have to be honest with myself and I have to be accountable because if I come across something and I may have like spoken out of turn or made you feel some type of way because we're human. I still wake up with attitude. Okay.
Okay.
I'm premenopausal. Like, I still do stuff. But I also know I'm also big enough to say, I am so sorry that I treated you that way.
Mhm.
I did not want it to come off like that. All right. What can I do to make this a better situation? Like, I'm that type of energy. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I want good energy around me. I want good people around me. I want everybody to I'm the type of person that I want everybody to win.
Mhm.
If you're connected to me, I want you to win. Whatever you're doing, regardless if it's the same thing that I'm doing, I want you to win at what you're doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Girl, I could just be talking, girl.
I love how you're in this place of just being. You're in this place of loving
Yeah.
people into being themselves too. It's like if I'm being me, I know that just because I walked in the room being myself, you're gonna be inspired to at least think about being yourself, you know?
Right. Yes.
And so that understanding that I am the ultimate example of what's possible that can trigger somebody else to know, oh, this is possible for me. It don't have to look like yours, but
Yes.
my purpose is to live my life out
Yes.
fully, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's something that a lot of people are still struggling because they're still defining things from external means and all this kind of stuff. But it's just about living.
Yeah.
It's about living and
Yeah.
living graciously and knowing and being, grateful for the things that you have and knowing that it has to go beyond that belief at a point in what other people say and what other people do. And it has to be an embodiment. This is just who
Yeah.
I am. I walk in this every day. I wake up like I brush my teeth and I do this every day. This is just what it
Yeah.
is. And that actually accelerates the energy from moving from this world of the unknown to into that physical energy. Like that's why you can see my fruit. That's why you can
Yeah.
see this happening with me.
Yes.
Girl, I appreciate this conversation so much.
Yeah.
I do, because I would never have known the struggles that you have been through. I
Yeah.
would never have known because your smile is not a mask anymore. It's something that is so it just uplifts and just inspires us. And I just want to know how can we stay connected to you and what you doing? Because for real, we need to know.
So I am okay. So I run a salon. Okay. Blue hair. Come on
I
now.
gotta
Okay.
get it right. I gotta get mine right. Go ahead, girl.
But a lot of the reasons I tell people all the time, a lot of the reasons why I even went into the industry of beauty was because I didn't feel beautiful. I mean, that's just honest. I never felt beautiful. So what better way than to um go into an industry that surrounds the concept of beauty. And when I get a client that comes in and you can feel the energy off people, right? And I've built an environment. I'm pretty happy to say that I built an environment here where it's one inviting. Because you know those salons you go to and they be like, who you here for? You know what I'm saying? They got that attitude. Like, no. When you walk into this building, you're surrounded by words of affirmation.
I love that.
And um I wanted a place where you not only feel pampered because that's the services we provide, but you feel welcome. You feel like you're somebody. You feel special. Um, so that is what I do, besides a whole plethora of other things. But people can get in touch with me if they email me at info@koqovel.com. And I'm on social media as Angel Fant, all over social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. Instagram is officially Angel Fan. But Koqovel's also on there as well. But yeah, I literally have been living my life now as my experiences hopefully help others.
Mm,
And that's in any area of my life.
I
And that's
love
what
that.
whether it's business, personal, relationship, that's what I've been doing.
I love that. That is where we're gonna end our little time together. I appreciate you so much. I just love that you gave me just a little piece of angel to come over here. And you already answered my last question. I usually ask people like, "What can you leave with us?" Some inspiring words, but you've been inspiring us this whole time. You don't even know how to stop, girl. But so I want to ask you a little different question.
Okay.
What kind of life are you creating for yourself?
Mm. I'm still walking in that. I can't answer that. I'm still walking in that. I can tell you my 2024 is um a year of rest.
All right.
Um I anybody will tell you like I literally take a vacation maybe once every 3 or 4 years. And a lot of that is because of me. But I work constantly and I'm getting to a point where I have to start taking care of me. And so my main focus is number one, of course, my family. But next year is all about taking that word restoration and underlining the word rest. Whether that is making sure I schedule a massage, making sure I'm taking care of my mental health, making sure that I am on top of my schedule and not putting Angel to the back, but putting her to the front. So then I can be equipped to give to others and children and my husband and whoever else. If I'm not fulfilled, then I can't fulfill others. And a lot of times we walk around with an empty cup and we're trying to pour it into others and we're empty. My goal is to live a life of pouring, like you said in the beginning, from my overflow
Mhm.
and not pouring from an empty.
There you go. Pour from overflow. Hey. That could
My
be the
goal, that's I would say that's the life that I am trying to build,
Mhm.
pouring from overflow.
I love that. Thank you for ending the Finally BE Podcast with pouring from overflow. We're gonna have to title it that, and we just had a beautiful guest, Miss Angel.
Yeah. I appreciate you for having me on. I was nervous.
You grooving with me though,
Yeah.
Is the Finally BE Podcast. Getting to people, inspiring people to connect to themselves and be more aware of who they are and who they get to be, and being the ultimate example of what's possible.